for us to understand the heart of giving, we need to recognize the premise of giving, and ultimately that comes from the heart of God. That God is love, and his love is literally giving in action. That's what we see in his love. It's moving and it's visible. And the heart of giving is the expression of God's love to the world. And that's what Paul's saying. Mimic Christ, mimic his life. And being an imitator of God is how we follow that example of Jesus. That's what we're doing. That's what he means when Paul writes to the church. Follow the example Jesus gave us to follow. So what would that look like? What's that example? Well, there's things like be holy. Jesus was holy. What does that mean? That just means that a life that's set apart from the world. To be humble. That our confidence comes from God. Do you know that's where you'll find humility? Is that my confidence isn't what you think of me. My confidence is what he thinks of me. And then I can walk in that humility. Be faithful. You know, being faithful means that you're going to be a promise keeper, that you're going to remain steadfast in your faith. You're going to remain steadfast in what you believe. Be generous. Being generous is stewarding all that God has given to us. That I'm going to be generous because he was generous to me. Be loving. In the giving of ourselves to one another, how we love one another. And then walk in love. And when we're imitators of God, you know what happens? We naturally walk in love when we begin to imitate God. The same love that he showed us, the same love that was willing to give himself up for us. See, the evidence of God's love is how he gives. The action we take is to walk in his love. So the question comes in, why do we struggle with giving? Why do we hold back? What's the problem in that? What happens? Well, ultimately, we struggle with giving because we don't trust God. That's where we hold back. And if we're struggling with trusting God, then we're struggling in knowing him. I want you to hear that. If I'm struggling with giving myself fully to be an imitator of who he is, and I'm not living out the way he wants me to live my life fully, if I'm not living a surrendered life in who he is, what I'm saying is I don't trust him. And if I'm not trusting him, then I need to get to know him a little more. If we say we truly know God, then we'll have a life of faith, a life of love, a life that trusts in him. We've bought a lie of materialism that the world has promised. And we just don't know that we're in it. We believe that somehow debt has become a virtue in our life. Materialism is consumerism. And what happens is it's centered on me, that I'm not being an imitator of him, it's about me. It's centered on myself, my life. This is where the battle lies between the taker and the giver. That's the fight. We chase after the things of this world first, and in doing so, when we chase after the things of the world, they'll never fulfill that emptiness that we have. There's going to continue to be a void. The world robs us of our time, our talent, and our treasures, and inhibits the greater things that the Lord wants to do in our life. We make a decision without God. We find ourselves in trouble. Then we say, Lord, would you bail me out of this again? Instead of coming to him first, asking God. So we make all the things, we make the wrong decision. We don't trust in him. We trust in the things of the world. And then we're saying, Lord, meet me again in this place. We're in debt of our time, our treasure, our talent. And unless we learn to trust God, we'll never get out from under it. We discovered that generosity is a gateway to the intimacy with God. That it's this gateway, that it leads to a place where we can have this intimate relationship with God, that we can know him in a way that we didn't know him before. And when we begin to trust God, it opens doors in our life that no one can shut. We have to stop and ask ourselves, what is my challenge? Why is it that I won't turn over or give? What is the thing that's blocking that? And if we're going to walk in faith, it requires us to commit in doing so, that we got to begin to trust God. And the area that most of us will struggle is begin to let go in those finances. Say, Lord, do I really trust you in everything? Or am I holding back? Is everything yours, or am I better at math than you are, God? But it's really a surrendering. It's surrendering in my finances. It's surrendering in my time. It's surrendering in my talent. And all of a sudden, life begins to flow when I fully surrender. And here's what I would say. If you get this understanding of what it means where God is drawing us to that relationship with him, where there is places where we have to continue to grow in our faith and learn to let go and learn to trust him in ways that we haven't trusted him before. Take time, begin to pray. And we're going through this series so that it's going to bring you into a more intimacy with God. That's the whole purpose of this. That you're going to discover the Lord in your life in ways that you didn't know him before, because you're letting him in ways that you didn't let him in before. So
as we are continuing this journey of learning about giving and the challenges that come with it, today I want to talk to you about debt elimination. 78% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. Abolishing debt is a must. Establishing an emergency fund is critical to staying out of debt. I remember starting out in my career and I was receiving raises and promotions. But along with that, along with making more money, the debt kept growing. Simply put, we were living above our means and using credit cards to pay for emergencies. My wife and I realized that we needed to make a change and abolish debt. The scriptures tell us, "Owe no man anything but love." See, debt steals from us, and we need to eliminate it. So what did we do? We created a budget. We stopped using credit cards. In fact, we cut them up and got rid of them for good. We started building an emergency fund, so this way, when the emergency came, we were ready for it. We were able to pay cash and not need a credit card. It took us about 2.5 years of intense focus, sacrifice, and hard work, but finally we were out of debt. And we felt that weight lifted off our shoulders. This was a life-changing experience. Here are some tools to help you abolish debt and build an emergency fund. So this way you can succeed and experience the freedom of being debt-free.